Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another NIKKE reaction. Today we have Kill for Justice, which apparently is the sequel to Kill the Lord, which is kind of neat. But both top comments wanted me to get to this one. They together, I think, had almost 100 likes. That's plenty of people and plenty of attention for me to get to this song. So I guess I'll be doing that today. And without further ado, let's go.
I stood for life battle, in my first fight.
Oh, this is way more aggressive than Kill the Lord was. Ooh. Oh, I love the grit. I love that distorted texture. Oh. Love that. Great synth.
Whispers, the voices that move on. Keep crawling.
Okay. Honestly, kind of less intense than I thought. I'll explain. It's got a really smooth flow, though. Ooh, speaking of.
I follow the signs, I believed every word. My silence is louder than justice I heard. They painted the script with a shimmer and spin. Wrapped up in light, but it's holding the scene. Framed it in gold, but it's fiction within. Trusting the cracks where the dark and the fire begins.
A lot of syllables to fit in on that one.
Justice, a baleful domination, and they pull my strings. The puppet whispers, the voices that move all the puppets.
All right. Like, I have thoughts, and I want to say them, but I don't want to say them at this very second. Kind of vibing with it. It's got some neat sound design stuff. I always love that, as everyone knows. But I definitely have thoughts. They're not all good, but they're definitely not all bad either. So the first thing I've got to say, and this might be a negative to some people, it's not necessarily a negative to me. I don't really mind. This is giving Imagine Dragons really hard for me. And again, a lot of people might disagree with that. They might agree, but also hate that I'm saying that. But I've never really hated Imagine Dragons sound. Yeah, it's a little bit like campy, I suppose, at this point, just because their sound is so rooted in what Radioactive was effectively. But I've liked a lot of their recent stuff as well, especially the stuff that they worked on for Arcane. So it's like, I don't really have a negative opinion of them, but this definitely had that approach. The whole industrial rock sort of sound is in there, and I actually like that a lot. And the reason I think that that works so well specifically for this song is purely the message that it's sending. Like, it's almost post-apocalyptic, similar to how Radioactive was in that vibe, and that works really well for the message of this song, given it feels that they're talking about how justice has failed, and effectively they're in kind of like an all-out, I wouldn't say martial law war or anything, but definitely some degree of falling out of justice and having to deal with that as they are, and just kind of living with this now and the repercussions of everything that went poorly. So that post-apocalyptic sort of rock vibe works really well for that, in my opinion. It adds to that in the sound design, especially that synth in there just kind of grinding through. It sounds like something has broken. There's something wrong in the mix, but at the same time, it's very supportive as the synth it is. It sits underneath everything and kind of keeps helping the whole song churn along, even if that feels like a very labored churn. And that's exactly the vibe I was getting getting out of this. The wheels are still turning, but at what cost and with what damage to them? And that works, again, really well for the message here. However, getting to that point where I was like, I felt like this would hit harder, that was kind of a disappointment. When they transitioned into the chorus, I was kind of expecting there to be either a drop in all of the instruments and then for it to like crank back in with like a full punch to the face and have a little bit more of an impact there. And they really didn't do that, which is fine. But I feel like because of that lacking transition, it just kind of flowed immediately into the next section and I didn't feel any of that impact. And I feel like that impact, especially in this genre, is extremely important because if you don't have that, then it just kind of feels like somebody casually telling you the news as they walk by and you're just like, oh, yep. Oh, we're doing another protest today. Thanks for letting me know, Ted. Instead of like, oh shit, time to go. Like, it's a completely different hit. When you have that impact, it's like, oh, there's like active fights and battles happening and there's something going wrong to the point that you need to be on site at that moment. Whereas this transition just kind of felt like a casual stroll. It really didn't feel like anything out of the norm or new. And with the song phrasing certain aspects of the lyrics the way it did, it felt like this is more of a, we're tired of this, but this is also an active battle we're fighting and not something that's just become the norm quite yet. If that's what it becomes in the future, cool, but I was getting the vibe from this song that this is still a very fresh happening in the world here. I did like the energy the chorus left in. I just wish there was a little bit more of an impact at the very beginning of it. And another thing that kind of lacked impact for me was the rapping. I was like really hyped to hear somebody go to town on there, but he was just kind of in there. And I think it was mostly that he was seemingly struggling with a lot of the syllables in the second language, because I'm pretty sure this guy isn't a native speaker, and he was just kind of fumbling a little bit. He was getting a lot of words in there, but the stanzas didn't feel like complete. They didn't feel even, and that's probably just the linguistic issue there. I know that the lyrics were done by the usual person and you, and that's fine, but I think there might have been a slight adjustment there for just fitting stuff in. It just didn't feel quite as impactful as that could have been, because you could have written some fire bars in there. You could have had so much impact, but it kind of just was like, oh, there's a rap section, I guess. It was a little bit underwhelming, and that sucks because I love that, especially for this genre. Having that support of rap really can make an impact to make you go, oh shit, like really sell the song for you. And it was just kind of lackluster, to be honest. It sucks because I really wanted that to be the hook for me, but I was left kind of high and dry after that moment. I was like, oh, that's it. And that's kind of a bummer. Point being, it just didn't feel like it belonged there at the end of the day. I feel like the song could have just done fine without that, or if they just put those into a normal verse instead. It just didn't hit, you know? It's sometimes things happen that just don't quite feel right to me, and that was one of them. But again, I love the genre they chose for this. I think that works so well for the theming here. It's just kind of a bummer that there were so many little tiny things that just kind of bungled around until the song was done, and I was left a little bit disappointed in it. I still like it overall. I just wish that they had a little bit more impact, especially at the beginning of the chorus, because that was a really good chorus, but just it didn't hit. And for the rapping part, they could have just removed that and it probably would have been fine, and it wouldn't have felt any different or any less impactful. It would have just been the same song. I see why they have it in there. There's a good space to put the rap there. It just didn't do its job for me. But the general production of everything else on the song, the mixing, the mastering for it was really decent. I love the sound design stuff, as I always do. I've got like this personal boner for that. For some reason, I love some extra sound design stuff and like throwing in those like cranks at the end. And again, that synth that was pretty constant through the entire song. It's just, oh, those little details that just make my ears twitch. And I'm like, ooh, they're thinking about these things. Cosmograph has never been bad at that, and I've always appreciated his work on that front. For this one, really decent as well. The other side of the impact for the chorus, though, is that I kind of wish the drums were cranked up a little bit more. That kind of has to do with the same impact issue. I didn't feel like I was getting punched in the face by the reality of the lyrics and the whole situation of the story. For this industrial rock stuff, that's basically their whole backbone. You got to have that punchy, aggressive drum, and you got to have lyricism that matches it. They had the lyricism, they had the production value. I just feel like a lot of the other little details could have been improved a little bit. But otherwise, still a good sequel. I see where it's coming from, where the original song ties into it. I did re-listen to that, so that all makes sense to me. But I would say if I had to give it a quick rating, it's like a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. You know, like it's up there, but it's also not nearly as good as I know that Cosmograph and his crew around him have done and can do. There are just a few things in this one that kind of fell to the side for me, and if those were improved, improved, this would be an absolute banger for me, but it's just those little nitpick things that are making me kind of go, you know, but still not bad. And I still like the vibe, and I still like the theme. But I think I've yapped enough on this one, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you have something else you want me to get to from NIKKE, drop it down in the comments below, and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for other stuff in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!